Dear Lord, bless this food for our use and us for thy service, and please make us mindful of the needs and feelings of others. Amen.
One of the biggest little mysteries of Yellowstone has finally been solved, and with no teasing or pleading for likes and comments, I'm gonna get to it. Who is this kid, Spencer? The temptation was to think that since he was at James and Margaret Dutton's table during Season 4 Yellowstone flashback sequences, he must be their son, but then you remember how nothing about the Dutton family tree goes as you expect, and the family has a long history of taking in lost boys. See Carter from Season 4, and of course Rip, whose story continues to trickle out. Really, you could add Jimmy in there too. The character of Spencer is going to be really important in the new Yellowstone prequel 1923, and I'll explain more about that shortly, but we can now confirm that the young boy played by Charlie Stover is a Dutton, which means that after they settled in Montana and got over the death of their daughter Elsa, James and Margaret celebrated. We know this because of the massive drop of cast announcements that came in September about 1923. Spencer is described as a son to James Dutton, but he's the nephew to Jacob Dutton, and it's here that we can all ask together, who the heck is Jacob Dutton? Hey, it's Billy Dukes, and followers of the Dutton Rules podcast got a deep explanation of all this, and you can find those links in the corner in the description section. I'm going to hit the high points here, add questions below in the comments, and I'll do my best to keep up. And if you're in for a stream of Yellowstone in 1923 insight and analysis videos, tap that subscribe button on this video. Weekly recaps and reactions, plus the best theories and plot holes, all to come. Millions chose those videos during Season 4 of Yellowstone and 1883, and we're hoping for the same come November. 1923 begins in December, and it stars Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. Recently, we learned of some really cool character actors joining the show, like this guy. That's Robert Patrick, who you've seen in a million things like Terminator 2, and you can now watch him as Dutton friend Sheriff William McDowell. Also, James Badge Dale is going to be a part of 1923. He's been in a bunch of stuff as well, but I remember him as Chase from the early seasons of Kiefer Sutherland's drama, 24. He's the one who dates Jack Bauer's daughter, Kim. Bit of a tangent, but I was big into 24 at the time. Let me know if you were too. Perhaps because Kim Bauer looked like this. Hey, she left an impression. I'm going to call James Badge Dale Badger because there is already a James to talk about in this video, and there's a lot of people with J names. It's getting kind of confusing. Badger is going to play John Dutton Jr., who is this little guy all grown up. So now we know John Sr. and Spencer are a part of this new prequel. So far, no word on James and Margaret. That's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill's characters, who would be about 75 or 80 years old in 1923, and it made it so tempting to think that Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren are older versions of those characters. That is wrong. Harrison plays Jacob Dutton, who is James's brother, and Helen plays his wife Kara. In a second, we're going to go really deep down a family tree rabbit hole in a way that no one else has done yet, because I'm pretty sure that Taylor Sheridan is just screwing with us. Again, subscribe if you love going deep on this, because we kind of do too. But two more important characters are John Dutton Sr.'s wife, Emma, who's played by Marley Shelton. Marley, best known as Wendy Peppercorn from the movie Sandlot. That's the lifeguard that Squints has a crush on, and well, just watch for yourself.
What?
This magic moment.
Little pervert!
Spoiler alert, Squints marries her. Don't try that at home, kids. The other important character is John Dutton Sr.'s son, Jack, who is played by Darren Mann, and he looks like this in real life. There are some other 1923 cast announcements, but I'm going to stop right there. Drop the link in the corner in the description section of this video for our Dutton Family Tree Explained video, and it mostly holds up, but now we're going to need to add an update. Adding Jacob Dutton really confuses things, because now the line from James, Tim McGraw, to Kevin Costner's John Dutton shifts one branch over, or at least it does if Jacob has kids. We don't know that yet. In either case, why? I'm really struggling with why it's necessary to create Uncle Jacob as the main character of 1923. We know that James had two brothers now. The first was Claire's husband. Claire was part of the first two episodes of 1883, just a miserable woman the whole time. She was a widow to the male Dutton, which had to be James's brother, although it's never really said clearly. Jacob is never mentioned in 1883, but surprise! Dying to know how he enters the picture, and the show better come with some answers. Also, we better learn what's up with James and Margaret. Are they dead too? We know that Jacob is the new head of Yellowstone Ranch and that John Sr., Badger, is his right-hand man. Spencer is going to be a really interesting character. Per Paramount, he's really struggling with things he saw during World War I, which means most likely he's a World War I veteran. And shout out to the research team of this video for all these great 100-year-old photos. This is going to bring those events to the forefront and really help us understand how it affected those who served back home. The show Peaky Blinders did this really well for England. Similar time frame, different countries. Prohibition and the Depression promise to be themes here as well. You know, if 1923 becomes an American Peaky Blinders, it might be my favorite show ever. Thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to add one more possible plot point for 1923. On the show 1883, Thomas was played by LaMonica Garrett, and when asked if it's possible that he turns up in another Yellowstone spinoff, the actor said yes. But he was referring to a limited series called 1883 The Bass Reeves Story, which we pretty much know nothing about. LaMonica, by the way, was just cast in another Taylor Sheridan show called Lioness. So too is James Jordan, who is in everything that Taylor Sheridan does. I'm talking Yellowstone, 1883, The Mayor of Kingstown, Lioness. I'd be shocked if he doesn't cause some trouble in 1923 as well. You can find a link in the description for everything we know about the cast and the timeline for this show. Email staff@tasteofcountry.com with questions and comments if you don't like doing it publicly below. I'm Billy Dukes for Taste of Country. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing.